Well, hello, beautiful people of planet Earth. Emphasis on the word hell. It's scathingly humid today in Brisbane, Australia. 28 degrees, but the humidity is intense. I've had to come in here and put on the air conditioning. It's intense. It is boiling. It is uncomfortable. I want to tear all my clothes off and run amok, but, well, that'll just work up a sweat, won't it? And it won't work out very well for me. I've just bought a blind from Spotlight and it's the wrong size, so I'm even more irritated and upset with myself than usual because I don't know if they will exchange it. And still don't have the right fitting blind. And I did measure, but I measured their measurements, said 120 by 137, and I took the width to be 137, which is actually what I need. No, that was the drop. So I've got a too short blind. And so I measured again the width and it's actually 135. And then I looked on the website and the next size up is 150, so it'll be too wide, and because it fits right into the corner of the window, there's no leverage for a wider blind, if that makes sense. So very, very irritated and upset am I. It means I'll have to probably get a custom made fitting, which will be hellishly expensive. And it's odd because the last one I had, I actually got off the side of the road and a curbside collection fit perfectly. So I don't know why they've changed all the measurements now that you can't get the right fitting size, right? It's driving me mad. But anyway, first world problems. I'm sure there are more important things to worry about, like the fact that our weather is being manipulated. I think that's a fact, people. I mean, it is hot, it is summer, it's meant to be hot, but we've had so much rain and so much humidity and it just doesn't feel normal. Maybe that's my imagination. Nothing has felt normal for about the last 20 or 30 years, so there is that. Let me see, 30 years ago, how old was I? 38. Yeah, damn straight, things were not real normal back in those days, that's for sure. Anywho, on a happy note, is there a happy note? I'm alive, I'm hot, but I'm alive. And so there's still potentials ahead of us, even though we haven't calibrated some of them. And so I'm going to continue with my daily journal readings of what I've posted up on Facebook or on Vocal Media. Vocal Media journalings are easier to access, and I pay for the luxury of having them published up there. I'm also a bit irritated because they did something when I updated the year on my 2nd of January journalings, and they just haven't updated it, and I'm annoyed. I did ask them to republish it. So no one does their job anymore, no one can be bothered, and I get it. I can't be bothered either. But for someone who's unemployable, I keep trying to do my very best to produce my best efforts, even though my best efforts are often not good enough either. So I'm struggling with that, how we're going to keep manifesting the very best versions of ourselves when we have this whole declension of Western civilization, right? Including very, very inclement, overly sultry weather. So, anyway, we'll carry on. We will soldier on as per normal, because why not? I could be reading a book, could be lying in bed, sleeping, I could be out shopping for food, I could be on a phone annoying my poor friends, I could be doing all sorts of things, but in the space-time continuum, I choose to continue with my weird ravings and rantings, because I can. It's all a bit weird, people, when you think about it. It's all a bit weird. But I exist, therefore I am, and therefore I must continue. Today's journal entries are entitled Honesty, True Love, and Converging Timelines, Shedding Karma. Oh, please, God, when will I shed all the fucking karma that interferes with me having a loving partner in my life? When, oh when, oh when. And don't say forgiveness, because I tried that avenue and it went very, very bad. In fact, even more life-threatening for me. So we won't be doing that. This Viking witch has learned the hard way. Now, here we have a photo of a beautiful woman. Very beautiful woman. Could be French, could be Italian, don't know where she's from. Clearly from the 60s with that little bit of a wingtip, or she's using the 60s type eyeliner, which was fashionable again a few years ago and probably still is. I don't know. I don't follow fashions. I do what I want, whatever. But it's a meme and it's entitled Honesty is a very expensive gift. Don't expect it from cheap people. Amen. High five, sister. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? 9th of January 2023. I posted a photo of a bangle I'd made, copper bangle. And so yes. And I also posted a YouTube video of Dr. John Campbell, and I wrote, the video is entitled UK Excess Deaths Increase. So this was in 2023, people, of even date. I wrote, pray for humanity and fight with every fibre of your, in brackets, our being. Fight with words, fight with votes, fight to stay alive, fight to stay safe. And here we are, a year later, nothing changes if nothing changes, right? The most alarming of all is still the disinformation and the obfuscation of duty of care on the part of our governments, and the lies. Did I mention the lies? And still are pushing certain agendas which are anti-humanist and life-threatening, and so on and so on and on. I can go ad nauseum, and at the end of the day it achieves nothing unless people wake up and do something about it. 10 a.m. awake, 5 solid hours of sleep. Wow, what a life. Insomnia et al. 5 a.m. time to sleep. I am exhausted. So I had a rough night that night, and then I was greeted with all that horror as well. So, and it's not just a horror, but it's a reality in our current paradigm of what's actually going on, for which nothing seems to be done. It's astonishing to my mind. You know, as a second generation survivor of people who fought actual wars for freedom and safety for the entire world, some lost and some won. What did we win? What did we gain by that? 80 years later, fucking nothing. Seriously. All that waste of life for what? For nothing. And on it goes, and on it goes. So, 9th of January 2022, 11:11 p.m, standing in my kitchen a few minutes ago, we hear the sound of tinkling like a glass breaking. Bobo runs to the door. I race after him. Open the door. No one there. nothing broken. I decide it was my wind chime, but maybe not, as there is no wind right now. So either it's paranormal activity or it's someone in my street breaking glass. Bobo ran to the gate, but I can't see anyone. January 9th, 2021. I highly recommend watching I Love Dick on Amazon Prime. Brilliant, quirky and glorious. January 9th, 2020. I had a beautiful day with Lynn and Peter. Lynn and I had a late lunch at Wellington Point and spent time looking at the sea as well. It was just what I needed, the sea and the company of my dear friend. I had 2 swims in their pool. Lynn made a pool up for Beauregard too. He played ball. In the evening, we watched Jojo Rabbit, which was a rather amazing film by Taika Waititi about the Hitler Youth. 10:03 a.m. Just woke up from intense, complex and repetitive dreams about having to go back to the house at 92 Hague Road, Loganlea, a house my mother lied about buying for me, which I rented from her and I moved out from in October 2001 due to ongoing pernicious harassment from her and her then boyfriend. The focus of the dream, which is nonsensical, as dreams often are, was that I had left all my clothes, furniture, kitchenware, even important documents, and was now living somewhere else, but being obliged after living elsewhere for months to reclaim all my chattels. In the dream, I had not paid rent and just walked out and left everything. I focused a lot on looking at the high fences that had several different vines growing on them and admiring the flowers and the garden. I did not seem to give a flying fuck about the house or my stuff stored there and became quite distressed as the dream progressed, trying to work out how I was going to move everything on my own or whom I might be able to get to help me. It grew in intensity. That is, the emotions of being stuck between 2 homes and 2 paradigms, and the sense of desperation as I really did not want to go back inside that house. Also, in real life, I never left anything behind except that was the beginning of a long estrangement from my mother and father. His estrangement lasted until his death. No regrets there. They were enmeshed with Buck Shearer's psychopathology and greed and were utterly vicious. So why is my unconscious searching for imaginary chattels left behind in that house? What am I searching for? It's probably just an old trauma dream, as moving house 8 times with my children was always intensely traumatizing. The bushfires and so many people losing their homes and possessions is probably triggering my subconscious into old memories of feeling abused and homeless or stateless. I must remember that I am safe here. I have lived here for 16 3/4 years. I am safe. I created my own safety. I was gifted safety also. So my brain can just settle down and rejoice that I am older and wiser and that all my enemies are either dead or long gone. Safe, safe, safe. When a fortune teller back in 2000 read my cards and told me she saw me living elsewhere in a house with a mushroom-coloured roof surrounded by lovely trees and that I would be safe there, my immediate response was to burst into tears. At that point in my life, I could not imagine in my wildest dreams of ever being truly safe. I cried for a long time. The reader was taken by surprise by my strong reaction. Safe was something that up to that time I had never actually experienced. It had an unusual flavour that I had not tasted yet, but she had seen my future accurately, a great gift indeed. When I was finally brought by fate to this house, I stood in awe. It was exactly as she had described several years earlier. Now, I moved here in 2003 in May, and I'd had that reading in 2000, so it was 3 years earlier. But her accuracy was astonishing. She was right. I have been safe here, or safer. She also told me this was the last house I live in, and then, seeing my shock, changed it to the last house I live in alone. I did try to kill myself in this house. So yeah, that old Tanya had to die, and I had to hit the reset button on my life again. I am still alone though, probably always will be. It's a big factor in keeping myself safe, so I have no regrets there. I did freak out recently when I met someone, just at the thought of, if I formed a permanent relationship with someone, having to leave my safe home and maybe move in with a partner, and the not knowing whether I'd be actually safe with them triggered me immensely. And I'm like, this is ridiculous, Tanya. You're not even dating this person. You're not even have any hope of a real relationship yet. And yet my trauma was activated. I went into complete trauma activation mode at the mere thought of entering into an unknown quantity of someone I don't know if I can even trust. And, after my first marriage of being married to someone and was with him for 12 years but married for 10 and a half years, knowing that I lay in bed next to a man that was untrustworthy in every aspect of my life was such a horrifying, harrowing way of living in existence. I don't think I could do it again. And how would you even know if you can trust them? Because they're so loving and sweet in the beginning, aren't they, darlings? Oh yes, even I'm loving and sweet in the beginning. So I don't think I'll ever be able to be in a relationship again, because after the pernicious ongoing abuses, even with the last lover from 2014, who was quite emotionally abusive, and it was awful. I can't do it. I don't think I can do it. And yet I keep trying. It's my spirit, I suppose. My spirit wants me to have a loving partner, but my mind says, are you fucking kidding me, girl? Do you know what you have survived? Do you want to go down that pathway again? Not really. No, not really. I continue reading. Anyway, I did not leave any of my possessions behind. If anything, in the past 10 years, I decluttered and willingly donated a lot of things to charity. I have relinquished my grip, on holding tight to stuff that does not serve me or invoke joy. Oh, what's wrong with me? Goodness, my reflux is bad lately. Ever since I had the COVID in October, my reflux has been playing up a bit more than usual. Oh well. So why my subconscious is meandering about in a home I don't miss. That was another lie fabricated by Buck and Gisela, my mother Gisela, and used as a weapon against me. I have no fucking idea. Perhaps it is their spirits searching for a link to the last place where we had any kind of connection, albeit a traumatic, unwanted one after all their invasive abuses. I will need to think about what it is they want me to remember. That must be it. Interestingly, I got chills when I looked at a video just after waking and saw mention of flooding in Nahariya, Israel. Nahariya is where those filthy, spiteful, abusive cunts, Terry and Gila, were born and raised in. I'm sure that's no reflection on the actual town of Nahariya though. They were just filthy and rotten to the core. So right there, bam, confirmation of my trauma dream, as they were involved in all the viciousness with Buck and threatened me and my children for 18 months when I lived in Kaiser Court. Even my former, much beloved rabbi had commented that I was reliving some ancient war, World War I to be exact, as I moved from Kaiser Court to get away from Terry to Hague Road. Hague was one of the British generals that fought in World War I against the Kaiser. Ori, not being of a spiritual or Kabbalistic bent, did not understand that my soul was indeed being forced to relive ancient traumas by continuously moving away from these various abusers, the worst being my own mother and father and de facto stepfathers. He did not know that my soul had had past lives as a warrior, which is shown in my horoscope, Aries, the god of war, and my chronic complex PTSD plus from my extremely violent and sexually abusive, prejudicial childhood. The stink and stain of which created cascades of further trauma in my adult life as I drew to me more filthy abusers than I could barely survive. Even in recent years, falling in love with another cold, avoidant, Machiavellian type, and the last chappie that was courting, or rather grooming me, who proved false and potentially dangerous, so I ended that friendship after catching him out lying. Who was the last chappie? Well, that would have been Pete. Dead Elvis. Fuck me. No, please don't. Please really don't. Oh, you have to laugh. Dear Goddess. This is why you see me, I don't know if anyone from my dance scene watches my videos, but this is why they see me arrive at the club alone, go home alone, dance wildly and joyously and zealously and triumphantly and berserkly, for the 3 hours that I'm there, and go home alone. I have to remain safe. And it's a double-edged sword, because at the same time, I dearly would love a love partner to be with me and be my man and be good and decent and kind to me. Someone I can be safe with. I can't even imagine in my wildest dreams what that would feel like, people. I've never had it in a sexual partnership, a safe, loving relationship. Never. That's the truth, people. At 54 years of age, now 58 years of age, almost 59, I have finally healed enough to recognise a dangerous, toxic love rat when I see one. And I still get fooled, even in recent memory, by tricksters. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Jesus. I try very, very hard to stay alive, because when I think about the ongoing awfulness of my entire life, I really don't want to be here, people. So I try very hard sometimes to not even think about it. What does my psychiatrist call it? Manic denial. 54 years to finally grow the fuck up and trust my own instincts and intellect, to set myself free of all potential abusers before too much damage is wrought in my life, to forgive myself that these types find me so fascinating and attractive, as they crave control or have their own timelines to tweak, but not my circus, not my monkeys. Love me in a healthy, respectful way, or fuck off back to hell where they belong. And I must say, my platonic loves do love me in healthy, respectful ways. I adore you, my darlings. I adore you for your sweetness and your kindness and generosity to me. I am too old, sick, and tired to trifle with monsters anymore. I deserve a much better, happier life, as do we all. January 2019. I now understand why my friend Antonio, previously known as Stalker Number 2, is so upset about the way women friends of mine have treated him at the casino. I was told he got upset as he wanted to share my woman friend's chippies and she refused. And I continue. But he was good enough for buying her and myself drinks for the past 3 years or so. As much as I made it clear I would never desire a sexual relationship with him, due to the first 4 years of lovesick, obsessive stalking, I do feel quite strongly that it is not acceptable behaviour to treat him like shit when he wanted to share a few chippies. Like, how fucking appalling was that? It was disgraceful. Now I understand why he felt so hurt and disrespected. Good enough to be used as a resource of free drinks, and he also used to supply packets of chips. I get the woman friend's line of reasoning that she did not want sweaty men's hands in her food, but Jesus, don't exploit the guy then. Ugly, all of it. And I actually did go to him and apologise. Not that it was my apology to make, because I did not behave like that. But I thanked him for all the years he gave me drinks, and then I appreciated his kindness and generosity to both of us. Oh, they were disgraceful, those people. I'm glad I'm not at the casino anymore, because just seeing them at the end just used to make me want to vomit a little bit in my mouth. After she aligned with an enemy of mine, I thought, oh God, I can't be around these people anymore. It's too vile and toxic, you know. Integrity is everything. I will not align with traitors, users, liars, and false people. To those of you who are sending me negativity, hate, and deception, I return your evil foulness to the power of 10. This includes the living, much beloved friends and family, as well as the spirits of the dead ones. I don't have time or room in my life for any more false, foul people. Those I identify as backstabbers will be removed from my page, as they are too perverted and voyeuristic to remove themselves. What you are doing is not cool and not funny. And my friend Jared wrote, "Oh, the stench of mendacity." And I replied, "Amen to that, brother. The Desiree fell off the streetcar, and she never did abide the filthy, putrid stench of mendacity and betrayal. Love you, Jared. Thanks for being there for me. Kiss, kiss, kiss." Having at least one true solid friend in your life, and I've had several, is the greatest gift a woman, or a man for that matter, can have. I just blocked name redacted after seeing photos of her and another woman that was a close friend of mine, name redacted, on her page. She rang me last night at 8 p.m. asking me to come for coffee. I demurred as it was so late in the evening. Then tonight, 9:15 p.m, I saw she was out with the other friends. I'm not comfortable with her lying to me, saying she was not going to pursue friendship with the other woman friend. Another game player trying to upset me. Oddly, yet another woman friend, these were people who were all enmeshed, by the way, it was vile beyond words, had just contacted me prior to seeing the post, and I had said I need a break as I can't trust anyone. Even I wondered why I felt that all of a sudden. My intuition, spot on as usual. And I commented a bit later, another traitor bites the dust. Trigger warning, CSA, family abuse. To the person or persons on my page that I suspect spies and will run information back to that vicious, traitorous woman of the poor vaginal hygiene, a few more things you ought to know. As I said, karma to the power of 10. My former sexual partner that was cruel to me will utterly get more than he bargained for. He thinks she is wealthy. I can assure you she is a pathological liar and not quite as well heeled as he hopes. Number 1, she claims to own her house, yet she could not afford to repair the incinerator or the ducted aircon. Her laundry cupboard lacked enough sheets or blankets. I know I was utterly freezing one night while I had to listen to her squealing. Oh, never mind. No, I stand by my integrity as a woman. Squealing like a pig, humping some stray she picked up that night. Say it how it is, Tanya. How it really is and was. No more manic denial, baby. I went to look for a warm blanket and was so cold that my teeth gnashed together. Another woman friend came out and saw me shaking and gave me a sheet. Decent. I was actually still cold, but what can you do? I'd been drinking, so I couldn't get in the car and drive home. She is still driving her car, the one she told me she wanted to replace with my new one if I was going to sell it. What the fuck? Envious of my one asset I had to fight for 2.5 years. I had gone into panic mode as my beloved dog was dying of a tick. That was Bella Rosa. And I seriously considered selling the car to save her. And name redacted said she could not help me with the money for the vet, which was $2,000, which I hadn't, I don't even know what that it was about. As if I expected her to give me $2,000. So I understood then that she had no money. I probably said, oh, if you have it, could you lend me? Or probably in desperation run that thought through my mind, you know. But so I understood then that she had no money, and I had no choice but to let my dog die, as it was too late to save her anyway, due to the vet's negligent advice to wait 24 hours. So I was in deep fucking shock and distress, and all I got from her was viciousness and condescension anyway. I am glad I did not sell my car to her in panic. She would have conned me out of a good car, and I still would have had a dead dog. Surely an independently wealthy woman would have updated her vehicle by now. She claimed she was a dominatrix, but when a man asked us to take him home and whip him, laughing my ass off, I thought that was hilarious. She acted all terrified and wimped out on the deal, which I found fascinating and amusing, as she claimed to need money at the time, $20,000 to be exact, to fund a house she claimed to have bought in Tamworth, a deal that went wrong with the agent, or so she claimed. And if she had indeed been a dominatrix, which she claimed that she was, and told everyone in the music scene that she was, and even had a tattoo of a whip on her leg, which I thought was really kind of borderline actually. When someone was actually wanting to be a client, she wimped out and acted all weird. So I knew then she was a liar, an absolute liar, misrepresenting herself. Number 3, she tried to turn my own daughter against me. My daughter told me she is a disgusting human. Yep. Number 4, she damaged another young woman by viciously slandering her at Irish Murphys. That young woman has since had a massive nervous breakdown, and I won't say her name, but she came to me in great distress and told me about her experiences with her friendship with this woman, right? I was not surprised because the same shit had been done to me. Number 5, she was part of the group that got me banned from the Irish Murphys pub also. Number 6, during our friendship 5 years ago, she made out she bought my dinner several times. I was so grateful too, obsequiously so. But my daughter informed me she either split the bill or paid for me, so even that was a lie. How embarrassing. Making out she paid for my dinners to make me look like some kind of loser in front of all the Irish Murphys group of friends, right? That's what that was about. She is nothing but a con artist and a liar who is incapable of decency, loyalty, or integrity. She uses and manipulates people to get what she wants. She is utterly selfish, a true narcopath, which is a narcissist sociopath. And boy, do I know the stink of that so well, since my mother was one. In fact, I should have seen the red flags earlier on in the piece, since my mother was one. But I so wanted to have a loving friend, someone that I thought I could trust, right? No. Bah. So then when she colluded with Dave against me, that was just one thing too much, darlings. But they deserve each other. He's Machiavellian and she's a narcopath. Like, you know, really? I bet they ate each other alive too, with their greed and their selfishness and their manipulations. It's actually perfect karma when you think about it. But at the time it hurt. It did hurt quite a lot. I took some clothes to Salvo's, bought cat biscuits, then stopped at Amanda's for a coffee. I had an interesting conversation with Jason, then went to the dog park with Beauregard to run around and chase a ball, all in the stifling humidity. My second set of clothes are drenched through today, now back home, sweating and dreaming of Canada or Alaska or Antarctica, laughing my ass off. And a bit later, would have been in response to a meme, I guess. I never diet, ever. I try to avoid anything that has die in it. 9th of January 2018. Thank you to all my beautiful, soulful friends who sit with me in my pain and grief and occasional bouts of torment. Pardon me. Who buoy me up when my life becomes meaningless and absurdist. And who also sit with me when my vibe is ebullient and stoic and resilient and truly miraculous. Thank you to those who love me in spite of my squidgy, awkward inadequacies, who stand with me and throw me back up on invisible but strong shoulders to carry me and then gently dust me off and throw me back into the fray or the three-ring circus, whose love is steadfast and unshakable, whom is brave enough to laugh with the Tanya. You are my heroes, my champions, my blessings in a life that was maladaptive and constantly interrupted and too often misinterpreted. Thanks for grooving with me and growing with me and soothing me. Let love always be our guiding star. Amen Vasila. Truth, love, light, and a picture of you. Today is another gorgeous day, in spite of my grief and disappointment. Life surges further on. I can catch this ride or the next. No one has power over my decision to be joyous. I might even go back to the beach. Byron is calling. In the meantime, Charlie is happy to spend time with me. Bobo is recovering from the big swim yesterday. We are a tad exhausted. My exhaustion is soul deep and fed by Antarctic streams. My heart will thaw as it does so miraculously and majestically each and every time. Love is greater than the sum of other humans' objections to my being. Rejected again and again, but by whom? Of people who hate me? So really, what is the value of their opinions of me? I gave the best of myself. It was never good enough. It will never be good enough. If I died tomorrow, their memories of me would be tainted by toxic lies and delusions. They would make up grand stories until the end of time. Only the truth will set me free. I had a lovely day at the beach yesterday. In the evening, the rising and shining Tanya was thrown down, face first, back into the mud where she belongs. A fight about me posting photos on Facebook. I am constantly rejected and humiliated as a mother. It seems endless and pointless. This is the same shit I have been put through for decades. Nothing changes. I am so tired of this. I did nothing wrong but love. I don't belong in this life. Every day is a reminder of my failure as a woman. I will stay alone. Safer that way. 9th of January 2017. Building a soundtrack for my creepy stalkerish neighbours. And I posted Wouldn't It Be Lovely by My Fair Lady. All I want is a room somewhere. All I want is a room somewhere far away from the cold night air, and sit in one enormous chair. Oh, wouldn't it be lovely? Lots of chocolate for me to eat, lots of coal making lots of heat. Warm hands, warm face, warm feet. Oh, wouldn't it be lovely? Someone's head resting on my knee, warm and tender as he can be. Something, 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 I go into manic denial, but wouldn't it be lovely? You know what? I'm enjoying my life at this point in time. Man or no man, I'm taking the piss even out of myself, and I'm loving it. It's just lovely, 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 lovely. Oh, wouldn't it be lovely? Oh God, somebody stop me. But they did stop me. They stopped me for about 30 years, munted down, drooling on heavy antipsychotics and psych meds. So no, I'm enjoying my life now. To those that facilitated that. After seeing, oh, I'm going to cry. It's actually so delightful, I have to cry. But I mustn't. I must pull it together. Back in the room. Here's that strange-looking lady meandering up the street in the scathing heat. Oh, well. She's got the heavy psych med shuffle I recognise so well. Been there, done that, got the walk, honey. Jesus. So there you go, there's a reminder of how far I have come, my darlings. After seeing the Susan Ley case, I think I should stand for Parliament. I have been living upside down, and I hate politicians, so that won't happen. I have been living upside down on the fringes of society as a parasite on the Australian government on a weekly stipend for too long. Well, fortnightly stipend. Why? The government assisted me out of rightful property settlements and other numerous systemic abuses. But look how easy it is to be a parasite on the other side of the coin. My God, the woman is a genius. I can pretend to care for the common good while milking the system for negative geared apartments on the Gold Coast. Oh wait, I forgot. I have integrity and I am not a lying asshole. Instead, thousands of my fellow poor and disabled were hit with bogus debts from Cunterlink as the underdog must pay for the politicians' gravy train. I mean, it's just a real life, modern, contemporary version of Hunger Games, isn't it? It really is. We're living in Hunger Games. We're living in 1984. We're even living in Soylent Green. Have you seen my neighbourhood and how grey it all is? We're living also in a brand new world. They've all just been thrown up, jumbled together and vomited back down to this 3D reality and gifted us. Gifted, by the way, is German for poison. Never forget. I know confabulation of two distinct miscarriages, in brackets, abortions, of Australian governmental justice, but I am just here for the front seats to the revolution of consciousness as this country of descendants of thieves and knavery needs to stop lining the pockets of asshole elitist cunts, and remember that this country owes its citizens basic respect, human rights, equal opportunity, and human decency when representing us in government. We the people, the poor, disabled, raped, tortured, and debased deserve better than this evil shit. Oh, and here I write it. I feel like I am living in the Hunger Games. Now, I wrote that in 2017. And what came along in early 2020? So, we've only devolved since then into even further marish hellscapes, for the love of all the gods. 9th of January 2016, 6:12 p.m, just woke up. Oi, house very quiet. Better see what the dog and cats have been up to. This evening, just before awakening, I had intense dreams about my mother and sister. Well, she's actually my half-sister, but let's not split hairs too much. Still contains some of my DNA. We swished around in the same filthy fucking treacherous uterus at different appointed times. Anyway, I was living in our old house in Island Bay. My sister came over to harass me. I went into our mother's room to search for fresh bed linen and was horrified to discover my mother had stolen many sets of Sheridan bed linen I had bought on sale. In real life, when I had money years ago, I used to buy this. I also found that in a shelf above the bed linen, it should be on a shelf above the bed linen, she was growing potatoes on a tray with dirt in it. This part of the dream nonsensical, as you might grow mushrooms that way, but never potatoes. So I went about squeezing the spuds to see if any were rotting. Squeezing the spuds. Sorry, my mind went there. I was very angry, but also sort of disassociated. I told Mum off for stealing my linens and spuds, and Angela off as she had rung her husband Grant and was bagging me out. Very weird dream, which, as always with my brain, mixes fact with fiction. I had a dream before that where I was transported to the future, 3046. Not sure what that number signifies. 7 and 6 is 13, which is a 4, maybe. There was a horse, lambs, goats, all living in suburbia, alongside dogs and cats. But there were much bigger properties with huge gardens and even small farms producing food. I asked where all the industrial complexes had gone. The woman said they blew up or over time got so toxic no one could live on that land. She showed me huge swathes of national park that no one could live on or work on, but were being returned to nature so the land could heal or be untouched by any further human interference. No one went to these places because of radiation or toxic levels. I felt shocked. People lived harmoniously, sharing resources, as they had come to realize that excess stuff and greed was killing everyone and everything, so everyone shared. Like the Ubuntu philosophy that I rather would like to see manifest in our world. I was sitting in the lounge room and witnessed a neighbour leading a horse, bringing bread. Then the woman showed me where the shops were. They were all solar powered and stocked beautiful clothing, anything you could ever want. So there was no actual poverty. You could still be opulent if you wished. I liked that. People tended to focus less on the material, but it was there if they wanted it. People didn't walk or drive cars around the neighbourhood or local areas. They sort of flew, a few metres from the ground, hovering. It was cool. I got to try it. It was quick and effortless. But they still rode horses and rode bikes and walked if they wanted. Walking was more for a pleasurable pursuit than transport. One of my interdimensional dreams I have. Such a weird dream, but I was so immersed in it. I kept asking where I was. I thought it was down Logan Way, but later in the dream I felt it was in the UK, and I spent some time trying to figure out how I was in the UK 1,030 years in the future. It got a bit stressful, as in the dream I thought I was trapped there. I saw a cat with similar markings to my Tully who died many years ago. For a moment I thought it was her. I got really excited, and as I then thought I was in heaven or some other dimension. I didn't mind staying there, as there were so many animals and humans supporting each other. But I then shifted into the mare about my family. I woke up at 6 p.m. Seroquel knocked me out, but didn't stifle the psychedelic dreamer's technicolor dreams. 5:23 a.m. Home from dancing. I had fun with my lovely ladies, back when they were still lovely. Fuck me. I have had an Epsom salt bath. Time to schluff. Bobo is on my bed with me, in seventh heaven, as he has not been allowed all week, as he peed on my doona. Hopefully he won't do that again. Puppy love. Almost like having a 2-year-old brat around, but he is a sweetheart when he is asleep. I want to buy some knickers size 18 for my homeless friend, also small shampoo and conditioners and any other handy things she can utilise in small packages. 9th of January 2013. Just watched The Lives of Others, wunderbar. Amazing how one man's courage was able to unravel the DDR. Proof that Tolkien was right. Even the smallest person can change the course of the world. I am satiated and happy right now, having fed my mind, heart, soul, and imbibed some chocolate. Lila Tov, you all. Bis morgen. Till the morning. Please, oh no, not please. Oh gosh. I felt really depleted today. Crawled out of bed just in time for my appointment at the murder house. Was I in for it? He had to take imprints and make 2 temporary front teeth while he sent the moulds to the lab. Oh my God, lots of drilling and poking about in my mouth. They look good though. Even the temporaries look better than that bastard public dental clinic did for me. 1 more month to wait and I will be finished. 1 more reason to smile. Then I summoned enough energy to wash the car, its first, and water the front garden. Phew. 9th of January 2012. Gail picked me up and made a nice dinner of corned beef. She also gave me lashings of Southern Comfort and Christmas pud with custard. Happy Tanya now. 9th of January 2010. Had a nice time visiting Gisela. and playing some really old schmaltzy German songs on my phone to her. She seemed to really enjoy the music. I rang my sister in New Zealand also, so she could talk to her, and although Mum couldn't talk back, she pressed her face hard against the mobile in an attempt to get closer to Angela. It was sweetly weird, or weirdly sweet, lol. Actually, yeah, that memory came back. It's painful memory of that. So painful. This is what happens when you have a mother who was a monster. Even the sweet memories are just overlaid with pain. It's awful. It's beyond awful. Oh, well, one day I'll enter into the next dimension and all those memories will be gone, right? Hopefully. Fresh start for me one time. Probably in another incarnation. She died on 7th of March 2010, the day after my father's birthday and the day before her own mother's suicide in 1949. I had begged her spirit to choose her own death date, but she ran out of options. But interestingly, slipped away on her own day in between. So yes, the first week of March is forever tainted by the deaths of my formidable ancestors. Update 7th of January 2021. Rolls eyes. She died 2 months later on 7th of March 2010. I still can't believe the cruelties of both those women. Glad one is dead and the other declared me dead. I don't need those evil bastards in my life. And 3 years later, what she said, baby girl. Surround yourself by people who truly love you, honour you, respect you, care for you, stand with you with great pride and dignity and joy and excitement to be with you as your friend, or one day I might even find a lover, a loving partner who stands with me. But be with those who truly, truly want you in their lives and do everything in their power to make sure that you're safe and you're happy and you're loved, so you can provide the same service to them as a true friend and or partner or lover or business associate even. Otherwise it's preferable to stay alone than be with yet another monster. It just takes too much time and energy, valuable time and energy from your life. I lost so much of that, as I outlined earlier, with that toxic, evil woman friend who I nursed for 5 days when she was blind, by the way. Anyway, life is beautiful, even in the post-COVIDian epoch, which the dust is still settling. It's not completely over yet. It may take quite some more years, maybe, I don't know, maybe 5, maybe 10 years before we can fully move past all of this. And probably I won't be alive in 10 years' time. It's hard to know. Didn't expect to be alive in this moment in time, in the space-time continuum at 58. I even outlived my own expectations of my own life force and chi and spirit. So I may be here in 10 years. I may be here in 20, which would make me almost 79 by then. So the important thing to remember is while I'm here in the now. Love the ones who love me, and enjoy each other with kindness and integrity for our situations. And dance, speak your truth, write your truth, live your truth, and take delight in the magic and the mystery and the awe of nature all around us, because we are spirits living a human experience, not the other way around. So love your own inner spirit, your own souls. I'm watching a crow 2 houses down, across that away, running all over their roof and their solar panels and picking twigs out of the guttering, and he's just so full of joy and delight. And the trees, full of joy and delight in their existence too. So we too as humans need to take joy and delight in our existence, and always and forever remember, though it's hard to remember at times, to never, ever, ever let the bastards grind you, me, us down. So on that note, many blessings from Titania's realm at my sacred space to you, people of Earth. Hold your head up high and keep living your dream, and wait for the right people to find you and vibe with you. Don't wallow in the filth and declension of the evil ones. Bye for now, my darlings.